The Mystara project is proud to present Part 31 of the Characters of Mystara series. In this video, we take a look at the cruel and insensitive Prince of Blackhill, Volospin Aendyr. Prince Volospin was first mentioned in the 1985 adventure module, X10, Red Arrow Blackshield, on page 44. However, he wasn't properly introduced until the 1987 gazetteer, Gaz 3, The Principalities of Glantry, on page 22. Volospin was born at Castle Silverstone in the southwestern Glantrian Principality of Blackhill, sometime between AC 920 and AC 928. For the purposes of this video, we have assumed AC 927. His father was Prince Barizanth Aendyr of Blackhill, his mother Lady Ethelbretha, and his older brother Uthar. Between AC 930 and AC 941, Volospin demonstrated an aptitude for magic, whilst his brother, Uthar, did not. This caused Uthar to resent and bully Volospin. But Volospin put an end to the bullying by managing to cast sleep from a scroll on Uthar. When Uthar awoke, he was shocked at what his brother had done to him as he slept. In AC 932, Volospin's mother disappeared. Suspicion fell on his father, who is rumoured to have imprisoned her, letting her die of starvation. In AC 934, Volospin started pony riding, and also travelled to Glantry City, where he passed the admissions test for the Great School of Magic. In AC 935, Volospin became a first-level magic user, learning the spells Read Magic and Filth's Bane. During the year he started introductory subjects on planar geography, alchemy, alternate magics, and magical engineering. In AC 936, Volospin invented the first-level spell Aendyr's Greeting, causing the target to bow or curtsy if they fail their save. Upon reaching second level, he was taught the spell, Draw Forth the Truth. He also completed the spell combination course. In AC 937, he reached third level, after successfully inventing and demonstrating the first-level spell, Volospin's Mirror Shimmer. His tutor taught him the second-level spell Spider Shackles, known elsewhere as Web. He also completed a course in meditation. In AC 938, he successfully invented and demonstrated the spell, Volospin's Violet Fragrance, and progressed to fourth level. His tutor taught him the spell Ensorcelled Grip, elsewhere known as Entangle. He also completed the Quick Casting course. In AC 939, he invented the first-level spell, Volospin's Whisper Breeze, allowing discreet utterings to be communicated to a distant recipient. Upon gaining fifth level, his tutor ceased teaching him spells. He completed a course in agility training. He also learnt of the secret schools while researching in the Great School's library. By snooping around, he managed to find a disciple of the Air Elementalist school, Count Turnay Urbal of Wylan. Using his charisma and a chest full of platinum crowns, Volospin convinced Turnay to sponsor and tutor him. The Count agreed, so Volospin swore the oath of secrecy, and his hand was marked with the invisible whirlwind symbol of the Air Elementalists. Despite an 85% chance of success, Volospin was not the best student, failing at his initial attempt at the first circle, succeeding on his second attempt. Count Turnay began teaching Volospin the language of air elementals, and the spells, On Griffin's Wings, elsewhere known as Fly, Protection from Evil 10-foot Radius, and Dispel Magic. For all his skullduggery to enter the secret school, Volospin developed competence in deception. In AC 940, Volospin attained 6th level, after inventing the first-level spell, Volospin's Howl. The spell is used at night to attract wolves. He also completed the Conjure Companion course. In AC 941, he invented the first-level spell, Volospin's Sycophantic Scent, which releases a pleasant fragrance that causes a close audience to agree with the caster's next statement. Volospin succeeded on reaching 7th level, but then failed to progress to the second circle of air elementalism on his first attempt. He succeeded on his second try. Inspired by his Conjure Companion ability, he completed a course in the language of gremlins. In AC 942, he invented the first-level spell, Volospin's Draft of Dismissal, which creates a gust of wind that pushes victims back 5 feet. He achieved 8th level, and completed a course in Mandragora. In AC 943, Volospin successfully completed the final solo dungeon adventure test, graduating from the Great School of Magic. He also completed a subject covering Glantrian politics, and finished a course in the Plane of Air's Skyworms language. Count Tournay taught him the spell Conjure Elemental. Following graduation, Volospin split his time between his Air Elementalist school research in Glantry City, learning the art of rulership at Castle Silverstone, and adventuring. In AC 948, he reached 10th level, and attained the 3rd circle of Air Elementalism on his first attempt. Upon reaching 11th level in AC 952, Volospin purchased a new spellbook, as his first one was full. Count Tournay taught him the 6th level spell, Weather Control. In AC 961, he reached 13th level, and had gained knowledge of interrogation and torture techniques, from observing his father. In AC 965, he reached 14th level and started using an ancient Alphatian ritual, involving the consumption of a wolf's heart every night of the full moon, to maintain his youth. In AC 969, Volospin attained 15th level. He finally succeeded in reaching the 4th circle of the Air Elementalists on his 5th attempt. He blamed his failings on Count Tournay not wanting another 4th circle rival. From now on, he would train himself. It was then that he discovered that the High Master of Air Elementalists was his father. He began looking for ways to prepare to duel his father for the position of High Master. In AC 980, Lady Arbana Gerbat arrived in Silverstone from Alphatia. She told the court that she had come to Glantry to live out her old age. Her true mission was to keep an eye on the Prince of Blackhill and to discover the secret of the Radiance. In AC 983, Prince Barazunth died of natural causes. Volospin succeeded his father as Prince of Blackhill and the Count of Silverstone. Volospin became aware that Count Tournay is now the High Master of Air Elementalists. He begins plotting his challenge to Tournay. In AC 984, Volospin met Lady Serena at an Arcana function held at Castle Silverstone. Later that year they wed, adopting the local marriage custom, which is absent in Alphatian culture. In AC 986, rumours circulated of an affair between Volospin and Lady Margaret of Hillsbury, after she became infatuated with him. In AC 987, Volospin's son, Lathan, was born. In AC 991, Volospin attained 20th level and challenged Count Tournay to a duel for the high mastery of Air Elementalists. Tournay insisted the duel take place on the plane of air. Volospin had no choice but to agree. Volospin cast his travel spell and journey to the agreed location. The duel began with Volospin casting Ice Storm on Tournay. Although Tournay managed to resist the worst of the blizzard, he was severely wounded. Tournay then started the metamorphosis process, gradually starting to transform into the form of a whirlwind. But before the transformation into a 20-hit dice air elemental was complete, Volospin finished Tournay off with another ice storm. He was now the High Master of Air Elementalists, aware of all of their identities. Notably, his wife Serena had reached the 3rd circle. All the 4th circle disciples, including Lady Therese of Harskins, became aware that Volospin was now their High Master. Tournay's son, Emeth, succeeded him as Count of Wylan, himself an air elementalist of the 3rd circle. Later in that year, the Prince of Belcadiz had died, leaving a vacancy for the Chancellor of the Princes. Volospin was elected by the Council of Princes to this charge, with a salary of 160 platinum crowns per month, totaling 96,000 gold ducats a year. He also gained use of the Chancellor's Tower, above the Parliament building in Glantry City. In AC 993, Volospin's daughter, Thylera, was born. In the past few years leading up to the current date of the 1st of Newmont AC 1000, Volospin has had to interrupt his research, to fulfill his Chancellor of the Prince's duties, travelling to foreign lands, such as Darakin and Alfheim. Red dragons, attracted by the discovery and mining of a new type of flammable ore, in the foothills around Camp Huldane, plagued miners and decimated conventional troops. In response, Volospin invented the Dragonfly of Doom construct to combat them. The Great School of Magic brought his invention to life, creating a few dozen of them. The ensuing war with the dragons resulted in heavy casualties on both sides, ending only when the ore substantially ran out. Only 12 dragonflies survived. Volospin Aendyr is a 22nd level magic user. Although he is in his 70s, he uses Alphatian longevity magical rituals involving the hearts of wolves, and allegedly humans, to maintain a youthful appearance. He is tall and slender, as is common with pure Alsatian ancestry. He speaks his native Alsatian tongue, plus the languages of gremlins, skyworms, and air elementals. He has the typical Alsatian alignment of chaotic, and many would say he has evil tendencies. He has an impressive IQ of 170, his charisma is above average, in a confident, suave and somewhat sinister way. He also has above average common sense and agility. Taking into account his wisdom bonus against magical attacks, his saving throw success probabilities range from 65% to 90%. With a morale of 6, he is quite willing to withdraw from a risky combat, to be able to draw upon his array of options, for a planned revenge when the time is right. Volospin relies on his magic in combat, and is disinterested in mastering the instruments of the mundanous. Consequently, he only has basic mastery of the dagger and the net. His general skills were mainly learned at the Great School of Magic. He is 85% proficient in the intelligence-based skills. He has 80% competency in etiquette, allowing him to avoid most faux pas when visiting foreign lands. He is very strict regarding etiquette and manners in the presence of nobles. Ignoring proper etiquette at Castle Silverstone is an offense, with punishments ranging from 12 lashes to feeble-mindedness for up to a month. For his duties as Chancellor and other social interactions, he has competencies of 85% for negotiation, 80% for deception, and 75% for detecting deception. As a Prince of Blackhill, he is required to be able to ride a Pegasus in times of war. Like most other Glantrians, he is not of lawful alignment, so he has a device to overcome this issue that we will cover when we look at his possessions. He has all 5 spell abilities of the secret school of air elementalists, which all take 1 to 4 rounds to manifest. He can attempt to invoke protection from elements thrice a day, with an 82% chance of success. He has a 72% chance of success with minor conjuration, which can be attempted twice a day. Once per day, he can attempt major conjuration, with a 62% chance of success. Full elemental control can be attempted once per week, with a 52% chance of success. This allows Volospin to shape and move air in an 88-foot radius for 22 rounds. This can involve becalming a wind, or creating a hurricane. The ability confers immunity to high winds. In a hurricane, non-magical missiles are deflected, or it can carry Volospin at 360 feet per round. By concentrating, he can control the air to fight as a 16-hit dice air elemental. If he walks at a pace of 20 foot per round or slower, the air can follow him. He can also walk out of the air's area at normal speed, but no more than 30 feet away. When using the full elemental control ability, there is a 1% chance the affected area goes out of control. Anyone in the area takes 1 air buffering attack per round. Anything still in the affected area at the end of the 22 rounds is utterly destroyed. If the affected area goes out of control, Volospin will suffer great trauma, reducing all future Elementalist ability success checks by 10%. The Metamorphosis ability can be attempted once per month, with a 42% chance of success. Volospin can turn into a 22-hit dice air elemental, while retaining the use of his spells and magic items. He gains all the abilities of an air elemental, using the better of his own or the elementals, such as hit points, armor class -5, movement speed 360 foot per turn, and physical damage of 5d8. Volospin may also freely enter or leave the plane of air. There is a 1% chance each time the Metamorphosis ability is used, that it attracts the attention of a 41-hit dice air elemental ruler. Whenever Volospin enters the plane of air, the ruler will seek to put an end to his meddling. Volospin can either exit the plane or fight. If he flees, and later re-enters the plane, the ruler will continue to hunt him. If Volospin fights and defeats the ruler, he gains the ability to take the form of a 41-hit dice air elemental, whilst on the plane of air. From the Great School of Magic courses, his agility training permits him to move whilst casting, with a 70% chance of success. Spell combination allows Volospin to use his aggregate spell levels of 165, and allocate them throughout each of the 9 spell levels in a combination of his choosing. So each day he could memorize 165 first level spells, or 18 ninth level spells plus 1/3 level spell, or any other combination in between. Volospin can attempt to conjure a companion of chaotic alignment, if a component of the creature is possessed, during a full moon, with a base 44% chance of success. For each hit dice asterisk a companion has, the chance of success is reduced by 10%, so Volospin would have a 4% chance of conjuring a companion with 4 asterisks, like a huge amber dragon. He has used this ability to conjure a sidekick magic user, Lernia Muneret, who acts as his devoted seneschal, unable to be charmed or influenced against Volospin. He uses mandragora roots to make sleeping and truth potions, to assist his abduction and interrogation methods of obtaining information. Via his meditation training, he is able to gain a 20% bonus to his next intelligence check, after contemplating the requirements of that check for an uninterrupted silent hour. Quick casting enables Volospin to ready a spell during a round so that it goes off at the start of the next round, before anyone else can react. Presumably, if on the unlikely chance another spellcaster is also quick casting in the same round, who goes first would be determined by individual initiative. Even though he has above-average constitution, Volospin only has 34 hit points, a very vulnerable armor class of 8, and only a base 20% chance of hitting armor class 0, improving to 30% when throwing his magical net. Volospin knows an array of spells, spread over 2 volumes of spellbooks. At first level he knows the obligatory read magic, which he only reactively memorizes if he needs to read unfamiliar magic. The Glantrian spell, Filth's Bane, allows Volospin to thoroughly clean himself, freshen his breath, and clean and press his clothes each day. He has also been known to put on a glove and use this spell on others, if he finds them disgusting, like adventurers returning from a dirty dungeon. Another Glantrian spell, Draw Forth the Truth, enables Volospin to point a finger at someone, and ask them one question. If the target fails to save, they will answer with what they believe is the truth succinctly, saying, "I don't know," if that is the truth. Volospin usually only uses this spell on normal humans who can speak Alphatian, usually Mundanus on trial, or under interrogation. Banish the Dark is the Glantrian name for the common light spell. Volospin can create light for 4 hours and 40 minutes, or memorize it in reverse, and cast darkness for the same duration. Floating Disc is a spell Volospin rarely uses but is more about collecting as many air-related spells as possible. Warp Wood is an Alphatian version of the druidic spell, that includes shipboard wooden items and artillery. Volospin has been known to use this spell in battles against wooden artillery. In particular, he can use it to warp 2 catapult arms within 240 yards. Remove the Instrument of Death is a Glantrian spell designed to disarm opponents who fail to save. Volospin can target 5 opponents within 100 feet with this spell. Aendyr's Greeting forces those who fail to save to bow or curtsy for a round, allowing Volospin to compel good etiquette and deference to nobles. A narcissist at heart, Volospin's mirror shimmer allows him to check his appearance wherever he may be. Violet Fragrance ensures Volospin smells wonderful, usually improving social reactions, but reducing chances of surprise and increasing wandering monster encounters on adventures. Whisper Breeze facilitates 5-second messages to be conveyed discreetly to another within 60 feet, handy if Volospin needs to get a message to a subordinate who is engaged in a critical negotiation. Volospin's Howl is designed to attract wolves for use in the full moon longevity rituals. Sycophantic Scent aims to show small audiences enthusiastically nodding after Volospin utters a key sentence in a speech or a negotiation, deceiving observers that he has more support than would otherwise be the case, or at least feeding his narcissism. Draft of Dismissal pushes enemies out of melee, a combat situation not to Volospin's advantage. At second level, Volospin knows Spider Shackles, which is the Glantrian term for the common spell, Web. Useful for restraining enemies for interrogation, and blocking corridors to assist retreats. Ensorcelled Grip is the Glantrian term for the common spell, Entangle. Not quite as effective as Web, it also enables restraint of prisoners for interrogation. Discern the Heart of the Beast is a Glantrian spell, used by bounty hunters to identify lycanthropes. A spell that Volospin rarely memorizes. Loose the Earth's Fetters is the Glantrian term for the common spell, Levitate. This air-related spell was initially useful to Volospin, but has been superseded by better aerial movement options. Finery and Freshness is a spell invented by a Glantrian noble, so that the Arcanus can always look their best, even after fighting a bloody battle in the disgusting environment of Lower Trollhättan. Volospin casts it on himself and others, with a duration of 22 days. He uses Detect Evil if he has a hunch that assassins are about. His level 3 spells include the Alphatian spell, Loudness. This is another air-related spell that Volospin rarely memorizes, which simply increases the volume of enchanted musical instruments, like horns and drums. Dispel Fog is an Alphatian spell, allowing Volospin to eliminate up to a 440-foot diameter section of normal or magical fog. Another air-related spell that he rarely memorizes. Deathfire's Rapture is the Glantrian term for the common spell, Fireball. Not a spell that an air elementalist would care to admit having, but magic is magic. Protection from Evil 10-foot radius, and Dispel Magic are required spells for elementalists, in case conjured elementals turn hostile and need to be banished. Volospin uses protection from normal missiles when flying on his Pegasus in battle over enemy archers. On Griffin's Wings is the Glantrian term for the common spell, Fly, a required spell for air elementalists. For Volospin, this spell has more or less been superseded by better options. His 4th level spells include Icy Torrent of Pain, the Glantrian name for Ice Storm, and its variant, Frost's Palisade, known elsewhere as Wall of Ice. Whilst Ice Storm has only half the area of effect as a fireball, it does half damage against magic users with the 9th level spell immunity protecting them, compared to no damage from fireball. Hallucinatory terrain can be used to hide objects, or pits, with a radius of 240 feet or less. Volospin rarely memorizes it. Create Atmosphere is another Alphatian air-related spell that manifests up to 8,000 cubic feet of breathable air around Volospin for 22 hours. Handy for travel in the void, or on planes without breathable air. Counterspell Immunity is a Glantrian spell. As it is only effective against one type of creature targeting spell, it is very situational, likely to only be used against a predictable spellcaster, or a spellcaster known to have only one type of spell, like sprites and their curse. Additionally, the caster must possess the nominated spell in a spellbook, or on a scroll. If the nominated spell is cast against a recipient of the immunity activates and lasts for 23 to 28 rounds. There is a 22% chance that the nominated spell reflects on the caster. Flame's Defense is the Glantrian name for Wall of Fire, another spell from the opposing fire elementalist school, that Volospin is coy about. Volospin's level 5 spells include the Alphatian spell, Fabricate. This creates one item, comprising one person's worth of food, or drinks, or soft material goods like leather, or textiles, or softwood or porcelain. Food and drink will satisfy one person for one day. It is designed to be used in conjunction with a relevant general skill to produce quality goods, if not the quality is low, generic and bland. As Volospin does not have any relevant crafting general skills, he does not normally memorize this spell. Mind over Matter is the Glantrian name for telekinesis. Volospin can lift up to 4,400 coin of weight for up to 6 rounds by concentrating. Cloud Kill is an effective spell for killing low-level enemies en masse in open terrain and can last for an hour. Lapis Bonds is another spell to restrain prisoners to interrogate. Volospin can create 5 bonds, with each having up to a 22-foot radius for larger-size victims. When the bonds are used to completely bind a victim's arms and legs, they get a 5% bonus to their saving throw. Once per month, Volospin can use Contact Outer Plane to ask 3 to 12 questions of an immortal inhabitant. Volospin is able to contact the first and second layers of outer planes with no chance of insanity, asking 3 or 4 questions respectively. However, there is only a 12.5%, or 16.5% chance respectively, of the immortal providing a correct answer to each question. The greatest chance of receiving a correct answer is through contacting the 10th layer of the outer planes, probably where the ruling hierarchs are based. Each of the 12 questions has a 90.25% chance of being answered correctly. However, the chance of Volospin going insane when first contacting the 10th layer is 40%. Insanity can be cured by 3 to 12 weeks of bed rest, equal to the planar distance contacted. By using this spell, Volospin has discovered that the Boldavian nobles serve the entropic immortal enemy of the Alphatians, Alphax the Dark. He has also learnt that the radiance is not mere legend, but further questioning has only resulted in a cryptic answer. Conjure Elemental is naturally a required spell for Elementalists. Volospin uses this spell when his minor and major conjurations have been used up, or if he needs the elemental to appear urgently in one round, with no chance of failure. Volospin's 6th level spells include the Alphatian spell, Disguise. This spell lasts for a day, allowing Volospin to take on the physical appearance and scent of any gender of any humanoid species that is shorter than giant size, that he knows of. He cannot take on the appearance of a specific individual. Without acting skill, there is a chance observers notice some incongruent mannerisms. The disguise can be dispelled, and disappears upon death. Volospin uses this spell when he does not want to be recognized, or if changing to a different species will help when in foreign lands or planes. As clerical magic is forbidden in Glantry, reincarnation is the only common magic user spell to bring back the deceased as living creatures. The reincarnation is not limited by time, so if the life force has managed to leave the outer plane of limbo to its ultimate resting place, it will be recalled by this spell. Volospin casts Geese mainly on normal humans, mainly to ensure their silence, but sometimes to compel them to perform a task for him, which could be as simple as reporting information. Volospin has been known to use Move Earth spells, on occasion to get a mine started, or to excavate a dungeon level, before the real workers finish off the job. Weather Control is a required spell for air elementalists. Volospin must concentrate and not move to maintain an outdoor weather effect in a 240-foot radius centered on himself. As High Master, Volospin is immune to high winds, so he can create this effect to prevent missile fire and flying, and to halve movement. His 7th level spells include Lore. He uses this spell to research magic items, places, and individuals of interest, like Count Turnay. He is still waiting for a response to his Lore spell on the Radiance. Sword requires Volospin to concentrate on the magical sword summoned to fight for him for 22 rounds. Given these limitations, he never uses this spell, preferring to conjure air elementals to fight for him instead. Summon Object retrieves one specially treated object up to 500 coin weight, and no bigger than a staff, from Castle Silverstone per casting. Volospin has specially prepared both his original spellbooks, by sprinkling each of them with 1000 GP invisible powder. He can cast this spell to retrieve one of his spellbooks from anywhere in the multiverse and other dimensions. However, if someone else has stolen them and is currently holding or carrying them, they will not be retrieved, but Volospin will know their approximate location and have a rough idea on who possesses them. His 8th level spells include Travel. This is a spell he usually memorizes, for quick getaways, via assuming gaseous form, flying or planar travel. It lasts for 3 hours and 40 minutes. He can also bring up to 4 companions who maintain physical contact with him, while traveling via flying, plane shifting and gaseous form. In gaseous form, all equipment is retained, turning gaseous as well. He can also attempt to touch unwilling victims, taking them with him if they fail to save. Volospin can travel to the plane of air, via the ethereal plane, in just over 10 minutes. Polymorph any object can transform objects, and is a more powerful version of the Polymorph Other spell. Polymorphing opponents of up to 44 hit dice permanently into a fish, where no water exists, is a favorite tactic for Volospin. Victims save versus spells at a -20% penalty. Enemy fortifications can be collapsed by transforming key materials like keystones, mortar, pillars, buttresses and iron clamps to soft minerals like brittle chalk, loose gravel, sand, lead, porous limestone and clay. Volospin's 9th level spells includes Contingency. Volospin has cast Contingency and Protection from Evil 10-foot radius on himself, and his sidekick Seneschal, to trigger whenever each one is attacked. He has not cast this on his family members, as he may have to dispose of them if they display disloyalty. His final spell is Power Word Kill, a spell he finds most satisfying as a cruel, narcissistic wizard. Unfortunately, he did not know this spell at the time he dueled Count Turnay. He is careful not to overuse this spell, as he does not want to be potentially counterspelled by dual opponents, who have studied him closely. Volospin always wears the extravagant and elegant outfits of a court dandy, using the finery and freshness spell to maintain their pristine condition. He has a ring of memory, allowing him to recall the memory one spell cast per day. As a Glantrian military commander, he has a ring of Pegasus control, to bypass the Mount's objection to non-lawful riders. He carries the usual licenses of speaking in public, and private spellcasting, registered with the Great School of Magic. His traveling spellbooks are in waterproof cases. He carries a potion of super healing for emergencies. Curiously, for an air elementalist, he has a wand of fireballs, or Deathfire's Rapture, with the command word, cap. It has 14 remaining charges, but his law spell incorrectly told him only 11 charges remain. He has a small returning net +1, that can be used against creatures between 1 foot and 3 feet tall. His Pegasus mount is called Canassus. At Castle Silverstone he keeps his original spellbooks, and some relatively useless magic items, including a cursed scroll from a Corensian agent, which he has not yet opened. Volospin and his pure Alphatian subjects are not well liked by other Glantrians, noting they fought the 40 Years' War against them, from AC 788 to AC 828. Volospin despises Innocenti and his Thyacian-descended Principality of Correns. The two principalities have had numerous illegal battles in the free territories east of the Red River. Corensian agents search for evidence to link Volospin with treacherous dealings with the Empire of Alphatia. Volospin is reluctant to let anyone cross the border into Correns, imposing fines for illegal crossings. Followers of the flame agents connected to Prince Vanseri of Bergthoven are responsible for a lot of the tension between Blackhill and Correns, in an attempt to weaken both states. Vanseri and his Flemish subjects are bitter rivals of Volospin, as they are descended from the Alphatian warring factions that destroyed Old Alphatia. As Alban was founded by Alphatian and Hattian-Thyacian outcasts, Volospin refuses to recognize this principality and its ruler, Prince Yaga. Volospin has sworn to destroy the Boldavian nobility, as he has discovered they are followers of Alphax. The pure Alphatians fought against the elves in the 40 Years' War, but tensions are now not as high. In AC 999, some tension with Erewhon began on account of Sire Kenildor being appointed to Camp Haldane to command some of Volospin's troops. The new elven commander appears to spend too much time on the Broken Lands raiders, rather than patrolling the Silver Sierras closer to Blackhill. Additionally, the Erewhani intercepted a merchant carrying scrolls with invisible writing on them from Alphatia, trying to cross the border into Blackhill. The elves are continuing with their investigation. The other principalities did not participate in the 40 Years' War, although unbeknownst to the Alphatians, Nouvelle Averwan secretly aided the settlers with lycanthropes. Volospin's personality traits reflect his chaotic alignment with no trait above average. Salient traits are his dishonesty, underpinned by his deception skill and narcissism. He is also quite vengeful, eliminating disloyal family members and nobles. He is a bit on the lazy side. Overall, he is only the 7th most powerful prince in terms of magical level achieved, despite being about the same age as Brannet, and decades older than Yaga and Jarek. Volospin doesn't acknowledge most of the Glantrian holidays. The pure Alphatians of Blackhill probably don't observe Alexander Day, which commemorates the settlers and Flems coalition, led by the Thyacian Alexander Glantry, defeating their ancestors. Perhaps they refer to the realm as the Highlands, instead of Glantry. Volospin does support the Wizards' Convention held in Glantry City from the 25th to the 28th of Yarthmont, known as Arcanium, even sponsoring some of the events, like philosophical seminars. The 15th of Fairmont marks the night of the Red Moon. Volospin has a 76.5% chance of gaining 1 intelligence point for 1 to 6 hours, and not being intoxicated by magic. He has a 15% chance of being completely unaffected. There is an 8.5% chance that after gaining an intelligence point for 1 to 6 hours, he fails his save and feels dizzy and euphoric from intoxication, until dawn. The final night of the year is the Bells of Fate. If Volospin spots part of a shooting star land, he dispatches warriors to retrieve it for him, possibly using a Geese spell. Volospin is designed to be used as a campaign villain. Basic level characters may hear his name mentioned and some rumors that he is a heart-eating vampire, but are unlikely to meet him. Lower expert characters may learn more disturbing facts about him, and get to see him from afar, perhaps in the Parliament, or at Arcanium. From mid-expert on, the characters may personally meet Volospin, which may have adverse consequences, as they violate his etiquette rules. He may geese them to destroy one of the Boldavian barons, or gain evidence against them that they worship Alfax. For companion-level play, they may be working against his plots, building up to possibly defeating him. Adventures could include an illegal battle with Correns. The PCs discover an agent is stirring up tensions and possibly traces them to the followers of the Fire. Maidens go missing. They need to be rescued from the dungeons of Castle Silverstone before the next full moon, with Volospin potentially away in foreign lands or Glantry City. They may have to save an Aendyr family member, or Blackhill noble, from being eliminated by Volospin. Erewhon elves, or Corrensian agents, could ask the PCs to try to uncover evidence of Alphatian traitors, and the source of monster summoning, during the Wrath of the Immortals War. This could culminate in the PCs confronting Lady Arbana of Redstone. The PCs could be convinced by the unseen hand to assist in an assassination attempt on Volospin, except the thugs think he is a vampire, which leads to some wrong preparations. A PC could be in the Elementalist secret school and make it to the fourth circle, leading to a collision course with Volospin. However, Volospin's official future history in the Wrath of the Immortals is relatively short. In AC 1003, Volospin may vote in favor of the new Principality of Bramira, as this enrages his enemies, Vanseri and Yaga. In AC 1004 he may vote against the Principality of Sablestone, seeing Harold of Harskins as an ally of Correns, or an ally of his main challenger as High Master of Air, namely Therese of Harskins. Alternatively, he may reason that Harold's elevation to prince will break his ties to Correns, enraging Innocenti. In the spring of AC 1004, Alphatian Glantrian tensions escalate, making life difficult for Volospin, who is under increasing suspicion for being an Alphatian traitor. In the fall of AC 1004, one of his family members, or noble supporters, is murdered by wizards of Alphatian appearance at a dinner party of Glantrian nobles. Volospin writes to his distant relative, Empress Ariadna of Alphatia, to protest, but she denies any involvement. Volospin supports the Council of Princes' demand that Alphatia hand over the assassins. He also supports their protest at the trial and conviction of the Erewhon elves accused of burning down temples of Asterius in Alphatia. In the spring of AC 1005, war finally breaks out between the two magical powers. Volospin possibly supports the creation of the new Principality of Morlaix-Malimbwa, in the hope that the lycanthropes can help in the war. In the summer of AC 1005, Alphatian wizards secretly enter Glantry to summon monsters. They would undoubtedly look to Blackhill as a staging area, possibly reporting to Lady Arbana Gerbat at Redstone. This would cause Volospin to have to choose between remaining loyal to Glantry, or supporting the Alphatians. An uncomfortable 12 months later, a meteor destroys Blackhill and all of its inhabitants. Volospin is presumed to have died in the disaster. In the next 7.5 years, he is not seen and makes no attempt to reclaim his title. Perhaps he has been taken by entropy, to be unleashed as some undead abomination in the future. This concludes part 31 of the Characters of Mystara series, featuring the cruel, insensitive, High Master of Air, Prince Volospin Aendyr of Blackhill.